Hey, what's up everybody? Today I'm going to be showing you gameplay of and ranking all of the new unique items that were introduced to Minecraft Dungeons in the Creeping Winter DLC update. So this includes the free items and the Creeping Winter DLC items as well. I'm so excited to share this with you because it took a lot of work to collect all of these items, and I want to say a huge thank you to the people that helped me collect and gifted me some of these unique items. We have Loot Shark, Jake, Baharath, Techno Beats, H Nalid, and Lord Force, and more people even. Thank you so much for helping me collect all these items and making this video possible. Alright, so let's get into the fun stuff, the good stuff. I'm going to be ranking these items based on how much I think that they are going to be used based off of the testing that I did of how good they are. There are a total of 8 new unique items, and let's get into listing them from worst all the way to best. Coming in at number 8, last place, we have the Frost Armor, which has the base traits of 35% damage reduction and 50% freezing resistance, and then the unique trait that makes it emit a chilling aura. The Frost Armor is the unique version of the Snow Armor type, and this can be found on the Lone Fortress and Lost Settlement levels, which are on the Creeping Winter DLC map, and you can find it on default difficulty or higher. The Chilling Aura perk on this armor can help you in defeating mobs because you will be able to stay alive a bit easier since they will attack slower and move slower, but the base traits on this armor are more effective, and specifically the 35% damage reduction. That makes a huge difference. That really helps out your survivability. With the 50% freezing resistance perk, that's not going to see too much use because, well, there aren't many things that freeze you on not the Creeping Winter levels, so I don't see that perk coming in very handy for a majority of the time that you are playing. So I mean, essentially when you look at this armor, the only trait that it has is the 35% damage reduction. Just that 35% damage reduction alone makes this armor fairly decent. It's nothing that you're gonna go out of your way to get at the highest level, but if you get it, it is not gonna be bad for you to use this. It's gonna help you out, it's gonna help you survive, and it'll be a solid piece of armor for you. I didn't talk about the appearance of this armor. It looks amazing. I really like the coloring that it has. It is winter themed because it is a part of the Creeping Winter DLC, and it definitely looks like a solid piece of armor. Next up at number 7 is the Ghost Kindler armor. This armor looks incredible, in my opinion, one of the best looking armors in the game. It has a really good combination of using the golden color and the red color. The base traits on this armor are that you gain ghost form while rolling, and you also have a 30% chance to negate attacks, and then the unique trait on this armor is basically the fire trail enchantment, where whenever you roll you leave behind a trail of fire. This is the unique version of the ghostly armor, and this armor type in general can only be obtained through daily trials, and daily trials are kind of random, so sometimes the ones that you have for that day will include a daily trial that has this new armor, and sometimes there will be days where the daily trials just do not have this armor at all. So keep your eye on the lookout for this armor under the daily trials loot table, and this drops on default difficulty. To explain a bit more about how this ghost form perk works on this armor, it only gives you ghost form during your roll. It does not give you ghost cloak after you roll. It will run out as soon as you're done rolling. So basically you can roll right through enemies, but after that you will not be able to walk through them or anything like that. This and the fire trail do make a cool combo because you can roll right through enemies and then hit them with a lot of damage from the fire trail. Unfortunately, the fire trail perk on this armor is only the tier 1 version of the enchantment, so you're not doing nearly as much damage as the tier 3 perk could have been doing, and because of that the perk is really not that effective. The 30% chance to negate hits is pretty effective. This will block out a lot of damage, and it can definitely come in handy in combat. While I think that the idea behind this armor is really awesome and the ghost form roll effect is really cool, it just isn't really effective, and the only trait that is really good on this armor is the 30% chance to negate hits. At number 6, we have the Beehive Armor, which has the base traits of giving you a 30% chance to summon a bee when you're hit, with the max amount of bees that you can have summoned at a time from this enchantment being 3, and then your other base perk is that health potions heal nearby allies. The unique perk on this armor, believe it or not, is the 35% damage reduction, and I don't think any armor has ever had a base trait as its unique perk. perk. And speaking of the base version of the armor, that would be the Bee Nest Armor. The Bee Nest Armor is a daily trial exclusive item, and all of the other daily trial exclusive items are available on default difficulty or higher, so I would assume the same for this one, but it is pretty easy to check while you're on your map anyways, because you can just test the different difficulties and see if it drops on all of them. The standout perk of this armor is its chance to summon bees when hit. These bees can help you, they can deal some damage, and the chance to summon the bees is pretty high with a 30% chance. On top of that, the health potions heal nearby allies perk that you have also heals your bees, I believe. And then for the unique trait, that 35% damage reduction, as I've been saying, can really help you survive. I would say that the base armor of this version actually looks better than the unique version. I mean, if it's gonna be bee themed, might as well go all out and get the whole beehive on ya, you know? Get the whole beehive like the Bee Nest Armor has, the base version. But nevertheless, this still looks pretty cool, and it is a fairly effective piece of armor. Coming in at number 5, we have the Freezing Foil. The base trait on this weapon is fast thrusts, and the unique trait is the ability to slow mobs on hit. This weapon is of the rapier weapon type, which is a daily trial exclusive item, so sometimes this will pop up in a daily trial and be available as a part of the loot pool. So just keep your eyes open for the daily trials and check their loot pools, and sometimes they will include this item. And also this drops on default mode or higher. The rapier looks cool. It has a long thin blade, and this weapon does have a pretty simple design. The fast thrusts perk that rapiers have is just how their combo works, so they attack really quickly for a lot of attacks, the fastest attack speed in the game, by the way. Then they have a combo where they will stop attacking for a moment, and that definitely disrupts that flow that the weapon could have had. Imagine it just going continuously. It would have been crazy, because this has a faster attack speed than the fighter's bindings when it is continuously attacking. The freezing perk on this weapon is not that useful, so it's nothing to really pay too much attention to, and in fact it doesn't really get used much anyways, because your rapier attacks so fast and it has a pretty decent range. So when any melee mobs are trying to come towards you, you can pretty much keep them at a range really easily. Unfortunately for this weapon, its damage really holds it back. Yes, it does have a fast attack speed, but that damage is just way too low for the attack speed to be able to compensate for it. So on its own, this weapon is completely not viable, I would say. Where this weapon does become a bit more viable is if you put some enchantments on it, because since it has such a fast attack speed, you can utilize those enchantments that get activated on a percentage basis, and they'll be getting activated a lot. So I did test this weapon out with Radiance and Thundering and Poison Cloud, and it did actually perform pretty decently, because you're getting Thundering to proc a lot, you're getting Poison Cloud to proc a lot, and you're getting Radiance, which is the most important thing here, to proc a lot, and this can actually sustain you fairly well, I would say. This is what really saves this weapon from being at the bottom spot, is its compatibility with these enchantments, especially Radiance. Also, I tried it with critical hit because I was curious how that would go. It actually is not too effective with critical hit, just because its damage is very low as a start, so even when you multiply that by 3, it's not even getting increased by that much. It is of course still getting increased, and critical hit is a good addition to this weapon. It's just not as good as I hoped it could have been. If you get all of the right enchantments on this weapon, which I would say would be Radiance, Thundering, and critical hit, then you can see this weapon be kind of decent and keep you alive while dealing a good consistent amount of damage. At number 4, we have the Bee Stinger, which is the second unique variant of the rapier weapon type. So it has the same base mechanics that the Freezing Flail does, but it has a different unique perk, because here you have a chance to summon a bee, and it doesn't specify exactly how, but I believe this is when you defeat enemies. Again, as I said, everything else on this weapon is the same, so it still has that same combo type attack, it still attacks as fast, but now it has the chance to summon bees, and these bees are more useful than the freezing that the Freezing Flail provides, because these bees do actually do a pretty good amount of damage. The chance to summon these bees is pretty low, I would say. You're rarely going to be able to summon 3 bees within a short period of time. You are often just going to be running around with 1 or 2 bees by your side, and this is still pretty decent. The bees do a lot of damage, so having these pets around can definitely help you defeat mobs quicker. And this is definitely something that I would add to that bee build that I made a video about the other day, which was pretty fun because I used all of the bee enchantments and artifacts and items possible at that time to just get as many bee pets as possible. So this would be a good addition to that. But on a serious note, this is still the rapier weapon type, so I do see it having some viability if you get the right enchantments on it. By itself, it's not great, and I do think it's cool, so it will draw people's attention and people will want to use it more, even if it's not the best, just because of that quick attack speed. Yeah, it's fun to play around with. I definitely recommend trying it out, but that's about it for the bee stinger. At number 3 is the Corrupted Crossbow, which has the base trait that lets it fire 3 projectiles at a fast fire rate, and the arrows from this bow when fired actually travel in a straight line instead of going out to the sides. And the unique trait of this bow is that it boosts your next attack on roll, so this is the Dynamo enchantment. The Corrupted Crossbow is a unique version of the Burst Crossbow, which is a daily trial exclusive item that is available on default difficulty. The base trait on this bow is actually really good. The ability to fire 3 arrows in a straight line at a pretty quick rate is very effective, and you can combo that with other enchantments like multi-shot, which makes this bow even stronger. If you need more focus on single target damage, the straight line arrows come much more in handy. As for the unique perk on this armor, Dynamo is a really great enchantment, but the thing is, when you are using the Dynamo enchantment, you need to have a build that kind of supports it to make it worth using, because you do need to roll to get it to activate. And because of that, it is pretty disappointing that the Dynamo enchantment on this bow is only tier 1, because unique traits on items are always only tier 1 unless it's a completely exclusive trait like the Fighter's Bindings have. But with this weapon, it does not have an exclusive perk. And the thing is, whatever enchantment your perk is on an item, you cannot get that enchantment as one of your enchantment slot options. You literally cannot get it. So you are stuck with Dynamo tier 1, and you cannot even get an additional Dynamo tier 3 on top of that. Because of that, if you're going to be making a Dynamo enchantment based build, you're not really going to want to use this because it's not the best that you can get. And yeah, it has the tier 1 version, but why would you use the tier 1 version when you can get the tier 3 version? In that case, the regular burst crossbow would be better than this bow. Although the Dynamo trait may not be especially redeemable here, the base attack that this weapon has is enough to make it a pretty substantial ranged weapon. Following the Corrupted Crossbow, at number 2, the second unique variant of the burst crossbow is the Soul Hunter crossbow. This of course still has the same base traits as the Corrupted Crossbow did, but now instead of the Dynamo enchantment perk, it has a Soul's critical boost perk, and it is a soul bow at that, so it gives you +1 soul gathering. The Soul critical boost is a great enchantment. Now again, with the same situation that we get with Dynamo, you are only getting the tier 1 version of this enchantment with this perk, so it's not the best that it could be. What really makes this bow great is just the fact that it is a soul bow and it has soul gathering on it, and because it is a soul bow, you can get the Anima Conduit enchantment on it, which has been and is right now a great enchantment for self-healing. In fact, at least before the Creeping Winter DLC came out, and I would say even still now, pretty much all of the top performing builds used soul bows so that they could utilize that Anima Conduit enchantment. Because with the Anima Conduit enchantment, you don't even need to use your bow to benefit from it. You can use your melee weapon and you heal every time you collect a soul anyways. So I would say that this bow is going to get used for the fact that it's a soul crossbow a lot, and also it can be used just for its base traits because the 3 projectiles are really great. At number 1, the best new unique item that came out with the Creeping Winter update is the Winter's Touch bow. This bow's base trait is that it freezes enemies on impact, and its unique trait is that it fires 3 arrows instead of 1 when it's charged, and this is a trait that is exclusive to this bow only. You cannot find this as an enchantment, you cannot find this as a perk on any other item, so this is exclusive just like the Fighter's Bindings perk is. This is the unique version of the snow bow, and this can be found at the Frosted Fjord and Lost Settlement levels, which are a part of the Creeping Winter DLC. On its own, it's decent because it does have 3 arrows instead of 1, and it does have charged attacks which deal a lot of damage, especially if you start comboing that with some stuff. And that's where the serious potential of power comes in, because first of all, on the bow itself, you really want to get multi-shot. The 3 arrows that this bow can shoot will really put multi-shot to use, and then at the same time, you also want supercharged, because that will increase the damage of your charged attacks by 40%. And since you're firing 3 of those and you got multi-shot, you got a lot of damage increase from that one enchantment. And then on top of that, you can put any other good enchantment that you want, like power, for example. Thing is, once you have that, clearing mobs becomes incredibly easy. You can just mow them down because each shot is a charge shot, and charge shots do heavy hitting damage. Then if you really want to up your damage, if you really want to get up there, you can put on the fireworks arrow and then even the gong of weakening. When I saw this weapon from the teasers, I was thinking that this is going to be the best bow in the game, but it is not the best bow in the game. It is just a decent bow, and I would say the best item that we've gotten from the new selection of items. So I don't want it to seem like I'm saying this is the best weapon in the world now. It is just pretty good, and it has a good amount of potential. Anyways, everybody, those were all of the new unique items ranked from worst to best. This was a fun video to make, and it took a while for sure. Getting all of these items, first of all, it took a long time. And again, I want to say thank you so much to all of those who helped. It was really nice of you. And by the way, all of the people that I got help from on Discord, because I have a Discord server. So if you all want to talk to me, I talk on that server very frequently, and you can join up. I will leave a link in the description below. Comment what you think about the new items. What do you think of their appearance? What do you think of how good they are? And do you agree with my views on them and my ranking of them all? Also, make sure to go check out my other videos. I have so many other videos that I have made and still making, so there's a lot of content for you to enjoy. Subscribe and like if you did enjoy the video and found it useful. And other than that, everybody, thank you all so much for watching this video, and I will see you all in the next one. Peace out, everybody.